Hey guys, Kurt here, and today I want to talk to you about social media. Now, the title of this video is How to Stop Spiritual Warfare. There is a war going on, there's a battle going on. There are higher powers who run our planet that don't like being noticed. They don't want to be seen. They want you to be focused on the puppets who we all blame for the world's problems, but there are these controllers behind the scenes that kind of manipulate the puppets and through the puppets manipulate you. One of the tools that they are using is social media. Now, I personally don't think social media is bad, but how much are you using it? And when you realize how much people use it, and also that there appears to be an agenda behind how much people use it, that's when you kind of bridge the gap between good and bad, I guess you could say, right? So social media itself isn't necessarily a bad thing. I still like to keep in contact with my friends and family and people that I've known for years. But how much time are you spending on social media? And this is critical. This is critical to you understanding how to shut down the spiritual warfare that's going on. Humanity is going through an awakening of consciousness right now, and these controllers are well aware of that, and they'll do anything in their power to shut that down. And all they have to do is distract you and keep you focused on something. Now, the consciousness is the you. For those of you that are new to my channel, what I often like to point out is that the true self within you, this is a spiritual channel, this YouTube channel, right? This YouTube channel is a spiritual channel. The true self within you is consciousness. That's what the soul is. The soul is awareness, focus, consciousness, right? All different words kind of indicating the same thing. So where your attention, there's another word, attention, focus, consciousness, awareness, right? Kind of all different things to describe you, which is a soul. So where your attention is focused is very important, and how much of that attention you're giving to something. Consciousness is naturally expansive. It naturally opens up and expands. It's infinite. It's source. So it is therefore infinite. It is naturally expansive. It is the ego mind that restricts it. And that's not necessarily bad. Restricting, controlling, constricting, like bringing in, right? Concentrating, condensing, those are kind of different words. Resisting, right? These are different words to kind of give you an idea of what the ego mind does with the energy of consciousness, which is the true self, the soul, right? The awareness within you, the focus, attention, consciousness, that's the soul, right? And the mind restricts that. Now, that can be very useful because when the energy of consciousness is restricted, it produces a thought. And thoughts can be very useful. The mind is a very good problem solver. And what I like to discuss on this channel a lot is how we humans tend to focus way too much on thought. And then the mind ends up sucking up all of that consciousness. And all of your focus, all of the consciousness, all of the awareness gets siphoned into the mind, into thought. And it restricts your total energy field. Your consciousness does not expand when you live through the mind. Another way that your consciousness can be restricted is social media, or also television, magazines, news, and information. And it just seems like in our modern world, we're just inundated with these things all day, every day. And that is exactly the way that the system wants it. They don't want this spiritual awakening that humanity is undergoing to go on. They want to restrict it. They want to bring that energy in. So here's a little diagram to kind of help you visualize what I'm talking about. Consciousness is expansive. It should be expanding, always moving outward and getting bigger, like a balloon. Or think of like a parachute when it opens up, but it never stops opening. It's always expanding. And if you siphon, if you funnel all of your consciousness into one little thing all the time, it doesn't expand, right? That energy, instead of ballooning and expanding around you and increasing your total awareness, your total energy field, that energy is getting siphoned off somewhere else. And so that bubble restricts, or it stays stagnant even, right? So imagine the person at the center of this circle holding a cell phone in their hand. And all day long, all day, every day, they're on their cell phone, on their cell phone, on their cell phone, on social media, watching videos, arguing with people about politics on Facebook or Snapchat or Twitter or whatever it is, or watching news, getting caught up in the drama of all of it, right? Staying trapped on that hamster wheel of thought and of drama and of commotion all the time, arguing. And all of their attention is going into a tiny little box in their hand. All of that consciousness, all of that energy is all restricting. It's all getting concentrated. Imagine this whole circle constricting down to a tiny little box. All of that energy all balled up into a tiny little box in the person's hand, instead of expanding and being free, which is how the spiritual awakening of this planet would be proliferating. And that's the whole idea. And you guys know that I like science, and I like to explain things kind of using diagrams and explaining it energetically. So that's kind of my way of explaining it to you. But it literally is like that. The energy will expand if you release it from the places that it's getting siphoned off into, like living through the mind, which is what everybody does, and everybody's done that for a long time. But now it's getting worse because we have social media and news and information so much in our face all the time. Everybody's on their cell phone, watching the television. All of that energy, all of that consciousness is getting siphoned into those places. And that is exactly the way that the controllers, that is exactly the way that the system wants it. They don't want this awakening to take place. And I'm here as a messenger to warn you that that's one way to shut this down. And I would encourage you to resist spending too much time on those things. I only allow myself maybe 5 or 10 minutes a day of kind of perusing through social media, looking at news and information. I don't need much more than that. I don't think most adults do, but some people, they get sucked into that, and that's all they do. And I will too. I'll time myself. I'll look at the clock, and then after 10 minutes, I make myself stop. But you can feel the addictive energy of the mind wanting to stay addicted to that thing. And when it gets to be 11 minutes, I'm like, okay, you got to stop now, right? I have to make myself, cut myself off. And you got to do that, because social media and news and information, those things have been designed by the system to be very distracting and very addictive. It's psychological warfare. They know exactly what they're doing to try to suck you in and keep you addicted, keep you hooked, so that you do spend more than 10 minutes. Next thing you know, it's been an hour and you've been on social media and you're going, darn it, I was only going to spend 10 minutes. So be very careful and only allow yourself a few minutes a day, and make sure to cut yourself off if you find yourself going down that rabbit hole too much. You will feel better, and your life will change if you release addiction to those things and those places, and instead be where you are and make time for being and just being. and allowing yourself to enjoy your surroundings, nature, go for a walk, go talk to your neighbors, take it easy, take it slow, and live a little bit. Get your nose out of the news and live a little bit. And that's all you have to do to win this battle, is increase your consciousness, expand your consciousness. Don't allow it to be bunched up and restricted into a little ball. Let it expand. Move out into the world. See things, do things. Go look at the scenery. And just be. Thank you for watching.